Good morning. Today we are in the Hamburg airport in Germany for a more or less 1 hour and 50 minutes flight from Hamburg to Klagenfurt or something like that. I don't know how it's pronounced, how it is exactly pronounced. So as you've noticed, today's video is in English because I've decided to also practice my English, that if I'm not flying from or to Madrid, or I'm not flying with a Spanish company, I will force myself to speak in English. So I practice and more people can watch my videos, because in the aviation industry, English is very, very important. All the procedures are in English, all the options and buttons are in English, and if you are outside Spain with ATC, you will speak in English. So English is very, very important in our job, in our profession. So I want to try to make the videos a little bit shorter. So let's move on and let's start. So battery 1 and 2 on. Now we can open coffee or wings. Well, delicious. So yeah, we can open the electronic flight bag and we can tell GSX to connect the GPU, the ground power unit, and let me see. Yeah, passengers. The payload has already been loaded. So request boarding.
Boarding requested.
We can see how the jetway. No. Yes. No. No. Jetway is not connecting. I don't know why it's not connecting, but oh yeah, now it's connecting. So a little bit of delay there. So let's continue with the flows. Cruise supply on. Oops, sorry, no. External power on. Cruise supply on. IRS nav 1, 2 and 3. Strobe lights on. Nav and logo lights on. And the emergency exit lights armed. Okay, sorry. I was connecting the headphones to the computer, so we avoid double sound in the recorder. So where I was, yeah, uninstated light test.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome.
Okay,
yeah. This flight is booked very good, so
perfect.
We kindly ask you to stow hand luggage also under the front seat.
We can put a little bit the air conditioning system to the cold, and we can turn on the fuel pumps, do the engine fire test, yeah, engine fire burn test, engine to fire test, checked, and APU fire test, checked. So we can do the cargo smoke and fire test, almost, but even it is not compulsory to do it. And let's turn the FADEC of the engines 1 and 2 on, so we can see if the oil quantity is sufficient for the flight, yeah, and if everything seems normal. Then the pressure is auto, the valve is open, and we are minus 150. I don't know. Oh no, but we are positive now. No, we are minus 150. So perfect, everything okay. The hydraulic quantity is okay. Okay, I don't know why. Oh, I was going to say I don't know why GSX is not loading, but it has finally loaded. So request refilling. and I think the fuel quantity is correct, 4.7, and for today's flight the block fuel is 4.7. yeah, okay, perfect. So let's continue with the MCDU. So I've already, the GPS primary has just aligned. So yeah, what I was going to say is that I have already finished completing the MCDU. We are flying from Hamburg to Klagenfurt, and the wind temperature are inserted in all the phases of the flight. The cost index for today is 5, and the flight level is 390. Our alternative will be Vienna, I think, yeah, Lima Oscar Whiskey, and our flight number is Eurowings 257. The flight plan, we are taking off using the runway 05 via the AMBLU to Charlie departure. And we are arriving to Klagenfurt using the runway 28 right in the the ILS of the runway 28 right via the arrival TISM to Alpha. Then in the full prediction page, the 4.7 that we are currently we have loaded, yeah, and the zero fuel weight, the center of gravity, the taxi will be 0.2, which is more or less the standard. The alternative 1,000 kilos, 1 ton, and 30 minutes of final reserves. And for today we are not using the 5% for the contingency. We are using the 5 minutes restriction for the contingency, and we will be having a positive tailwind, which is good, of 10 knots. It's not too much, but it's okay. And the performance page, the V1 is 133, 133. The the rotational speed is the same as the V1, so that means the runway is with enough length that it's not a restriction for us. And the B2 is 134. The transition altitude is 5,000. The flex temperature is 74, and we will be using the flaps 1 and trim down 0.6. Then we have to see our QNH, which is 1020. Let me insert it. 1020. 1020? Yeah, no, 1021. So 1021. Constraints and arc 10 nautical miles. We can put our flight plan that we've set. It was 390, so 390. Here we go. And then yeah, with the QNH inserted, well, here no, 1021, yeah. And now with the QNH correctly set it, we can see we are more or less in 60 feet. So we are now at an altitude of 60 feet, so in the performance page we can calculate the thrust reduction and acceleration altitude. So 1060 because it's plus 1000, and 1560 because it's plus 1500, and here will be the same 1560. And now the MCU is fully completed. Here we can see our passengers. Oh, we don't see passengers, so that means the boarding is almost completed. Let me see. Yeah, almost completed. So we can turn on the APU. There we go. And let me quickly do the walk around. So exterior walk around completed, and the APU has, yeah, it's available. So we can turn on the APU lead, we can turn on the seatbelt sign as the refueling process has been already completed, and we can turn off the external power. We can tell GSX to disconnect the GPU, and while GSX loads, let's do the before start checklist. Before start checklist: cockpit preparation completed, full message has been sent, earpins and covers removed, signs on auto checked, ADIRS nav checked, full quantity is mast and balanced checked, takeoff data is set and reviewed checked, and para reference is set in both sides checked and cross-checked. So before start checklist up to the line completed. A ver, let's see if it loads. Please, GSX, be a good boy. Let's turn on the beacon lights, and let's do the before start checklist below the line. But first, we are going to manually close the door. So before start checklist below the line: windows and doors closed and locked checked. Let's lock the cabin door and see and verify the doors are closed and armed. Yeah. So beacon lights on checked, thrust levers idle checked, and parking brake is as required checked. Mobile phones must be turned off, and one engine taxi departure is not conceived for today. So before start checklist below the line completed. Please, GSX. Oh, that's very annoying. Let's see if it loads, and we will see the engine start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Eurowings flight from Hamburg to Klagenfurt. We are currently 15 minutes behind scheduled, but nothing to worry about, because we will accelerate in the air and we will arrive on time. Today we are expecting a very good and smooth flights, so please, I invite you to enjoy the views outside of the window, and to please pay attention to the safety demonstration that the crew is going to perform in a few moments. Thank you for choosing Eurowings, and enjoy the flight. Okay, we have finally started the pushback. Seriously, GSX is very frustrating sometimes because loading times are horrible. It gets stuck in the process. I don't know, I mean, horrible. But we are finally in the pushback. We've crossed the red line, so we are starting the engine number 1 and then engine number 2. So engine number 2 available. We can put the engine mode selector in normal, turn off the APU, and confirm to GSX we've had a good engine start. Obviously, if GSX loads, because if not, we will.
Cockpit to ground.
Here we go.
We have a good engine start. You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
Let's put flaps 1, arm the speed brakes, and we can do the flight control test. So full down, full up, neutral, full left, full right, neutral. And in the fly-by-wire we cannot physically push and disconnect the bottom, so let's simulate. That's not moving. So rather left, rather right, neutral.
Tow truck disconnected.
So flight control test done. Let's put 0.6 down.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
No, too much. Yeah, 0.6. Perfect. And let's see if the rudder trim is 0. We don't need anti-ice, so no anti-ice on. Here we can see the pin, and as soon as he goes, yeah, we can turn off the parking brake and start to move. Let's turn on the runway turn off lights and the nose lights and do the after start checklist. After start checklist, anti-ice as required checked. You can start to use normal checked. Pitch trim center take position and rudder trim 0 checked. So after start checklist completed. So I'll see you in a few moments arriving to the, let me see, to the Delta 1 holding point of the runway 09. So we are arriving our holding point. Let's slow down a little bit, and I've already activated the brake windshield, the weather radar, and selected the Tata mode in the TCAS. The takeoff config is normal and auto brakes are max. So let's do the before takeoff checklist. Flight controls checked, flight instruments checked, briefing is confirmed, flap setting is config 1 plus F checked, P1, BR, B2 and flight temperature are showing checked, ATC is set and ECA memo takeoff nav blue checked. So before takeoff checklist completed, and we can turn on the timer, turn off the packs 1 and 2, yeah, and runway 05 is confirmed. Nothing on my right, nothing on the left, so with the ATC clearance we can enter the runway. Let's turn on all the lights, the landing lights, taxi in nose lights in takeoff, and line up. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Let's do the line-up runway. Okay, line-up runway. Takeoff runway is confirmed. Cabin crew is advised checked. TCAS is in data mode checked. Engine mode selector is as required. And packs are off from packs of departure. So line-up checklist completed. Parking brake off. Are you ready for takeoff? Yeah, ready? Okay, takeoff. Manual flex 74 SRS runway at thrust blue. P1, rotate. Positive climb, year up. Year up, I've said. Yeah, here it goes. Crossing the runway. Nothing, okay. Imagine someone is doing a go round and no one has seen it. So it's important to always be aware of our surroundings. So thrust climb. Autopilot 1 engaged. Climb. We can disarm the speed brakes and turn on the pack 1. Runway turn off lights and nose lights go off, sorry. Pack 2 on. And 200 knots, flap 0, speed checked, flap 0. Transition altitude QNH standard. Okay, 1000 feet, we are accelerating, and landing lights goes off, and as no visual clouds, no turbulence are expected, for me it's okay to turn off the signal signs. So we are now facing south, almost south, and towards our destination. So enjoy the flight, and I'll see you in the approach phase. So we are starting our initial descent, and I've already inserted 4,000 in the altitude, in the target altitude, which is the desired altitude to intercept the glide slope of the ILS. And we are currently on the descent profile calculated by the aircraft, by the MCDU, and the approach phase is already fulfilled with the minimums, with the QNH, the temperature, and the wind, which is according to the meter variable. Variable at 6 knots, but here in the fly-by-wire I don't know how to insert the variable, because if I try to do this as in the inivils, format error. So I don't know if fly-by-wire hasn't implemented this function yet, but I'm not able to insert variable wings. The transition altitude, which is 10,000, and the in the approach speed of 126 knots, and config full. So I've also turned on the simple signs because we are over the Alps, and we are having a little bit of turbulence. So that's it. Let's continue with the descent. As you're seeing, we have the runway in sight. We have it there. So we will do something like going over there, then turning around 100 degrees and landing in the runway, kind of circling, but it's not the maneuver. It's not a visual maneuver. So transition altitude. QNH was 0105. I think it has changed. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, 1015. Sorry, 1015. It has changed since the previous time we saw the meter. And as we have passed 10,000, we can turn on the landing lights and the seatbelt signs, which were already turned on. So we can do the approach checklist. Approach checklist: briefing is confirmed, ECAM status is checked, landing distance is confirmed, seatbelt sign is on, weather reference is set in both sides, minimum decision altitude is set, checked, and engine mode selector is as required, checked. So approach checklist completed. Another thing I've done during the descent is obviously configuring the TCAS in the below option, because now the traffics that concern us should be below and not above, because we are not climbing. Okay, flaps 1, speed check, flaps 1. We can see we are a little bit over the glide slope and descent path, so let's fix here the speed and force a little bit to the airplane to descend faster with a higher rate of descent. We can turn on the runway turn off lights and the nose lights in the takeoff position. Okay, and now below the glide slope we can continue to lose our airspeed. We can turn on the approach selector in the autopilot panel, and the lock has been captured, glide slope captured, and speed mode. Perfect.
2,500.
We are fully aligned with the runway. So the go-around altitude, which is 8,000 for today, and we can start configuring the airplane for the landing. So flaps 3, speed check, flaps 3, speed brakes armed. We can advise the cabin crew. Okay, perfect. And we can extend the landing gear down, and once the landing gear is fully down with 3 green lights, okay, here we go, we can extend our last flap, and we are fully configured for landing. Okay, so landing checklist. Cabin crew is advised. Auto thrust is at speed mode. Auto brake is as required, and eco memo. Takeoff no blue. Landing no blue. So landing checklist completed. The auto brake, I've decided low.
1,000.
Because we have remaining space. Landing is long enough for a low auto brake setting, and the exitway, the taxiway to exit the runway is at the end of the runway, so we don't have to stop as quickly as possible. Okay, so my control, autopilot off, and let's see how I do this landing.
Minimum.
Continue. Let's see if the passengers are going to hate me or love me.
500.
And clap.
100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Okay, reverse screen, decel. Okay, brakes off. We can pause the timer, we can turn off the landing system, the constraints, and the flight director. Let's disarm the speed brakes, retract the flaps, turn off the TCAS and transponder auto mode, auto. Brake windshield off and rather off. So welcome to, let me see how it was. Welcome to Klagenfurt airport. I hope you had a pleasant journey, trip, flight, and enjoy your stay here in Klagenfurt. Today our stand will be, I don't know which one is suitable for us. I don't know. For example, that one, yeah. No. Thing is, I don't know what it is. Thing is, it's here. Yeah. Oh, the other way. Okay. So that's not a standard, but sorry.
Seien Sie dann bitte beim Öffnen der oberen Ablage vorsichtig, das kann an Gepäck herausfallen kann. Hier überprüfen Sie auch noch einmal Ihre Sitztaschen, dass Sie nichts Persönliches hier vergessen.
Oops, the lights are still off, sorry.
Verabschieden. Wir haben Sie heute Mittag sehr gerne hier bei uns an Bord betreut und hoffen, Sie bald wieder an Bord teilnehmen.
We can turn off the taxi lights
Vielen Dank
and
einmal
the
für
wing
Ihre
lights.
Unterstützung. Wir reisen die
And
Flughafen
our
zu
stand,
Ihnen
which
einen
is
schnellen
right
Anfang,
here.
sicheren Heimweg, den Besuch von einen schönen Aufenthalt oder gegebenenfalls eine gute und sichere Weiterreise. Alles Gute für Sie. Tschüss.
I don't know
Servus,
why
auf
it's
Wiedersehen.
not aligned
Against
with
broadcast area
the
connection. Just landed here. Please keep
line, but
until it's reached our final parking position and follow
let's follow its
Please be
indication.
careful while opening the overhead doors. Your luggage may be
Oops.
shifted during landing, and please
No.
double check the seat pockets that you do
Yeah.
not forget any
Okay,
personal
so we can stop here. Parking brake set. Sorry, the APU it's not on. Yeah, give me 1 second. He's telling me to turn off the engines, but I have first to start the APU. What we can do is the after landing checklist. Flaps retracted, spoilers disarmed checked, APU starting, rudder off, brake windshield off, and one engine taxi arrival is not considered for today. Pack 2 as required, which is on. Okay, with the APU available, now we can turn the engines 1 and 2 off, and with the engines turning off, we can turn off the transponder, the beacon lights, the seatbelt signs, and request the reporting along with the GPU, so we can turn off also the APU and avoid consuming extra fuel. Request deporting.
The boarding requested.
Okay, perfect. So I'm glad to tell you that we were supposed to arrive exactly at 12:30, and we are 3 minutes before scheduled. So perfect punctuality. Here are connecting the stairs, and now the baggage will be taken out of the plane. We are going to select the payload page to monitor the boarding, and we can unlock the cockpit door. The radar trim should be reset to 0. Okay.
Passengers
And
boarding starting.
I think once we connect the external power, we can turn the APU, the fuel pumps, and we can do the parking checklist. Electrical pump off checked, APU bleed as required checked, engines off checked, exterior lights as required checked, fuel pumps all off checked, parking brakes and chocks as required checked, and company mobiles can be turned on. So parking checklist completed. So that's for today. Let me disembark with the passengers. So that's for today. Thank you for flying with me. Have you heard the APU turning on? The sound? The beautiful. And welcome again to Klagenfurt. Enjoy your vacations here, and see you in the next flight. Bye bye.